Hello, good afternoon, dobar dan, dobrodošli u novu video lekciju. Drago mi je što ste odlučili da danas malo provedete vremena sa mnom i da malo obnovite nešto novo naučite kad je u pitanju engleski jezik. Danas ćemo se baviti interesantnim vokabularom i primjerima, naravno, uz te reči koje ćemo učiti. Nadam se da će vam se svidjeti i krećemo odmah. Number 1 is floor, pod, sprat. Let's read. Children often sit on the floor instead of on chairs. Instead of, umjesto. Children often sit on the floor instead of on chairs, meaning deca često sede na podu, umjesto na stolicama. Do you sometimes sit on the floor? Da li ponekad sediš na podu? Dakle, to sit on the floor, sediti na podu. Druga rečenica je the children sat on the floor watching TV. Sela su na pod da gledaju TV. They sat on the floor or they were sitting on the floor. Sedeli su na podu. They were watching TV. Gledali su TV. Dakle, floor u značenju pod. A komentar kaže osim što znači pod može značiti i sprat, so you can live on the ground floor, prizemlju, on the first floor, on the second floor, on the third floor. So I live on the first floor, for example. And there I live on the fourth floor, and there in the other apartment I live on the fifth floor. So you can live on different floors. Na različitim spratovima. And floor jeste pod unutra. Don't use floor when you talk about outside. Dakle, kad nešto padne na zemlju, outside, we don't say it fell on the floor, but it fell on the ground. So ground is palo je na zemlju, na polju, a kad padne unutra mi kažemo palo je na pod i to je floor. Okay, and the next one is the ceiling. Ceiling is plafon, ceiling. It was dark and the ceiling was low. Bilo je mračno i plafon je bio nizak. It was dark and the ceiling was low. I sljedeća, is there a light on the ceiling? Da li ima nekog svetla na plafonu? Is there a light on the ceiling? So the ceiling is plafon, floor je pod. And then we have walls. Zidovi su walls. Number 422, stand. Stand, u zagradi piše stud, stood. What does it mean? Stand, stood. Znači stand je infinitive, stood je past simple i past participe isto stood. So, stajati. Can you stand up? Sa up znači ustati. Can you stand up? Možeš i da ustaneš. Drugi primjer. He tried to stand up, but he was too weak. Pokušao je. He tried to stand up, ali je bio too weak. Suviše slab. So stand up ustati. Try pokušati. Weak, slab. Week je nedelja sa 2 e, sedmica. A veak je slab. So he tried to stand up, but he was too weak. 5 minutes later, Mike could stand up on his own with his eyes open. 5 minutes later, 5 minuta kasnije, Mike could stand up on his own. Uspio da stoji sam with his eyes open. Sa otvorenim očima. They stood in silence. Znači ovdje vidimo tu drugu kolonu, stajali su u tišini. Stand, stood. They stood in silence. Komentar kaže, obično prvo naučimo da glagol stand znači stajati, ali recimo postoji izraz I can't stand. Da li on znači ja ne mogu da stojim? Može, ali ne. Stand u značenju I can't stand you, I can't stand this weather, I can't stand him, ne znači ne mogu da stojim, nego ne mogu da podnesem. So, I can't stand or I can't bear something, ne mogu nešto da podnesem. I ovi izrazi su obično praćeni, ako su praćeni glagolom, onda taj glagol ima ing oblik. I can't stand living here. I can't stand drinking this coffee. I can't stand sitting here on this chair. Ovdje je primjer I can't stand living in a big city, znači ne mogu da podnesem da živim u velikom gradu, a ako nisu praćeni sa glagolom, praćeni su ovdje sa imenicom I can't stand that man, ne mogu da trpim tog čoveka. He drives me around the bend, or he drives me crazy, znači nervira me, izluđuje me, he drives me crazy. Next we have pleasant. Pleasant means prijatan, pleasant. Is it pleasant to wait for somebody in the rain? To kaže neko ko čeka na kiši. Is it pleasant to wait for somebody in the rain? Da li je prijatno nekog čekati na kiši? She was very pleasant when we met her. Bila je prijatna kad smo je sreli. She was very pleasant when we met her. So pleasant, kind, polite. And unpleasant, neprijatan, unpleasant. So it is cold and it is unpleasant to go out, just like today, because it's a rainy day and it's cold and windy and so it is unpleasant to go out. Nije prijatno izaći napolje. A drugi primjer je he is bad and unpleasant person, znači da je bad and unpleasant person, loša i neprijatna osoba. I don't like spending time with him. I can't stand the man. I can't stand spending time with him because he's such a bad and unpleasant person. Boring je dosadan ili dal. Do you find your life boring sometimes? Do you think your life is boring? Do you find your life boring sometimes? Da li misliš da ti je život dosadan? Boring teachers give boring lessons. Boring teachers, dosadni nastavnici, daju dosadne časove. I'm using a boring textbook. Koristim dosadan udžbenik, to je najgore. To use a boring textbook. If you find your textbook boring, just throw it away. Komentar kaže, verovatno ste čuli za pridev boring i znate da je to nešto u vezi dosađivanja, dosade. Kad hoćemo da kažemo da je nama dosadno, često napravimo grešku pa kažemo I'm boring. I tako sebe svrstate u dosadne osobe. So I'm boring, to znači ja sam dosadan. I'm boring, ja sam dosadan. Ako je vama dosadno, treba da kažete I'm bored. Dakle, kada koristimo oblik sa ed, a kada sa ing, bored or boring. Kada opisujemo kakav je neko ili nešto, stavljamo ing. I'm reading a boring book. Kada opisujemo kako se osjećamo, stavljamo ed. And I'm bored. I'm watching an interesting film. And I'm interested in the film. I heard worrying news. And I'm worried. My job is very tiring. I'm always tired. This boy is so exciting. And I'm so excited. Dakle, kada pridev odgovara na pitanje kako se neko osjeća, završava se na ed. Bored, interested, worried, tired, excited. Kada opisuje kakav je neko ili nešto, završava se na ing. Boring, interesting, worrying, tiring, exciting. So, kakva je knjiga? Boring. A kako se osjećaš? Bored. Kakav je film? Interesting. Kako se osjećaš? Interested. Kakve su vesti? Worrying. Kako se osjećaš? Worried. Posao je tiring. A kako se osjećaš? Tired. Kakav je grad? Really exciting. A kako se ti osjećaš u tom gradu? I'm really excited. So I hope I wasn't boring and that you weren't bored. Znači, nadam se da nisam bila dosadna, a da vama nije bilo dosadno dok ste ovo čitali. I hope I wasn't boring and that you weren't bored reading this. Znači, bored. When he got bored, he went to Rome. Kad mu je postalo dosadno, otišao je u Rim. When he got bored, to get bored, he went to Rome. Were you bored when he gave a lecture? Da li ti je bilo dosadno dok je on držao predavanje? Were you bored when he gave a lecture? If you get bored, cinema is a great option. Ako ti bude dosadno, bioskop je sjajna opcija. If you get bored, cinema is a great option. I was so bored and I yawned during his lecture. Bilo mi je tako dosadno, zevnuo sam tokom predavanja. I was so bored and I yawned during his lecture. Okay. Joke, šala. Do you think this is all a joke? Da li ti misliš da je ovo sve šala? Do you think this is all a joke? Did he even laugh at your joke? Da li se uopšte nasmeo tvojoj šali? Did he even laugh at your joke? I never joke about money. Nikad se ne šalim kad je novac u pitanju. I never joke about money. He is good at telling jokes. On zna dobro da priča šale i viceve. He is good at telling jokes. Lip, usna. She bit her lip because she didn't know what to say. Ugriza se za usnu jer nije znala šta da kaže. She bit her lip because he didn't know what to say. And his upper lip was swollen. Gornja usna mu je bila natečena. Upper lip. His upper lip was swollen. Lipstick, Carmen, lipstick. Every morning she puts on some lipstick. Svakog jutra stavlja Carmen. Every morning she puts on some lipstick. Do you think women look better with or without lipstick? Da li misliš da žene izgledaju bolje sa ili bez karmina? Do you think women look better with or without lipstick? Lift, podići. He couldn't lift the table, but I could. On nije mogao da podigne sto, ja sam mogao. He couldn't lift the table, but I could. Then he suddenly lifted his hand to hit her. Onda je iznenada podigao ruku da je udario. Then he suddenly lifted his hand to hit her. She lifted her veil. Podigla je veo. She lifted her veil. Komentar. To give somebody a lift. Prevodimo sa povesti nekog autom. He gives me a lift to work. On me vozi autom na posao. He gives me a lift to work. I would be happy to give you a lift. Bilo bi mi drago da te povezem. I would be happy to give you a lift. He persuaded me to give me a lift and I was annoyed. His car was slow and old. Ubedio me da me poveze, ja sam bio iznerviran jer je njegov auto bio spor i star. He persuaded me to give me a lift and I was annoyed because his car was slow and old. Hair, kosa. I have just washed my hair. Upravo sam oprao kosu. I have just washed my hair. Her hair was returning to its natural color. Njena kosa se vraćala u svoju prirodnu boju. Her hair is returning to its natural color. She hated her red hair. Mrzela je svoju crvenu kosu. She hated her red hair. Destiny, sudbina. Destiny is sometimes cruel. Sudbina je ponekad surova. Destiny is sometimes cruel. Today he has a date with destiny. Danas ima sastanak sa sudbinom. Today he has a date with destiny. Honest, iskren. Dishonest, neiskren, nepošten. Don't believe anything she says. She's dishonest. She lies all the time. Ne veruju šta kaže. Ona je neiskrena, laže sve vrijeme. Don't believe anything she says. She's dishonest. She lies all the time. Whenever you disagree with me, I hope you will be honest enough to let me know. Kad god se ne slažeš sa mnom, nadam se da ćeš biti dovoljno iskren i da me obavestiš o tome. Whenever you disagree with me, I hope you'll be honest enough to let me know. Komentar. Reč honestly prevodimo iskreno. Honestly, I don't like going either to the cinema or a discotheque. Iskreno, ne volim ni u bioskop, ni u diskoteku da idem. Honestly, I don't like going either to the cinema or a discotheque. Sincere, iskren. Please accept my sincere apologies. Molim te prihvati moje iskreno izvinjenje. Please accept my sincere apologies. I felt she wasn't being sincere. Osjetio sam da nije iskrena. I felt she wasn't being sincere. She seemed really sincere, so I decided to believe her. Izgledala je kao da je iskrena, pa sam odlučio da joj verujem. She seemed really sincere, so I decided to believe her. All I've been searching for all my life is someone who will sincerely love me. Sve što tražim celog života je neko ko će me iskreno voleti. All I've been searching for all my life is someone who will sincerely love me. Okay, we will stop here. Ova knjiga iz koje čitam se zove Engleski rečnik iz koga se uči. Ako želite da imate ovu knjigu u svom kompjuteru, možete je kupiti. Košta nešto, čini mi se, oko 5 eura. Ima, kao što vidite, 340 strana, 1000 reči sa mnogo komentara, dodatih primjera, rečenica. Mislim, veoma korisna za sve vas koji ste na početnom i srednjem nivou. Ako imate pitanje u vezi udžbenika, možete mi pisati na e-mail novametoda@gmail.com. Vidimo se, bye!